Here's the engine stand. And here's the engine. He's off the stand finally for the first time in months. All ready to go back into a car. We're going to put a clutch on it, put a transmission on it, and start reassembly. Looks a lot better than she did first time around. When we first took it out of that old van, she was dirty, crusty, blowing oil everywhere. Should be good to go now. And just like that, it's back in the car. So, of course, it's never that easy, but, you know, we make it look that easy, I guess, on YouTube. But I still got the chain fall hooked up to it because, you can see up there, because I don't have my front motor mount built yet. So down there, I've got a plate on the side of the block that we mocked up before we put the engine in, just so we had an idea how we're going to make this. But I want to make sure it can hold up to abuse that it's going to take. So me and my brother Dan over at Dan's Custom Projects again, we're going to figure out how to build this mount. So it's going to take some abuse for the power that this thing hopefully will make very soon. So I figured I'd owe you guys an update. It's been a while since I've done a video, and just haven't had a chance to get an update really done. The engine is all built, obviously, it's all in there. So for today's video, we're going to do a little bit of an update of what's all been done, a little bit of backpedaling on what we've done in the past, and we're going to go over all the costs of everything involved with just the engine build. I'm not going to cover the turbo stuff on this build because I do have a new turbo. I'm going to be doing a sort of unboxing, sort of comparison with the turbo I had on here previously, and I'm going to also try to add a little more information in on that. So I don't want it to be just a typical, you know, turbo unboxing video that you see a lot of on YouTube here. So quickly going over what we've done here before. So if you watch previous videos, you know the camshaft I have in this one is just a stock 3400 cam that I got off buddy Scott over at Mod Everything. And I also got the lifters from buddy Chris. So thank you guys. I appreciate your help on this one because I was kind of bummed out when I found out my crane cam was no good because I planned on using the crane cam, going with adjustable roller rockers, and I was looking forward to that. Figured I could get all that working, and then when I found that worn out lobe on that crane cam, I was pretty disappointed. So this will be a good, like I said, this is supposed to be a budget build, so this should be a good compromise for now. Maybe down the road we'll do a proper build with proper camshaft and whatnot, but this is supposed to be budget build. That's why we took the engine out of the Montana van for, you know, for free. So just to kind of quickly cover, we've got stock pistons. I've measured everything up. Those are still within tolerances, we'll say. Cleaned them all up, made sure they're all clean. I'll throw some pictures up here of what they look like before and after. I took the crankshaft, I polished the journals on that. You can find lots of videos on YouTube about how to polish a crank. So I did that. I did do a quick semi-balanced job on the pistons and rods together because I did not separate the pistons and rods. But what I did was I weighed the piston end and weighed the rod end, and I balanced them so that they match each other. So if you're familiar with balancing, it was definitely not the right way to do it because, you know, taking the piston off, balancing, doing it all that way is the right way to do it. But I didn't want to separate the pistons and rods again, just on cost savings. I wanted to do everything as much as I could for as cheap as I could. It's definitely better than it was stock because they weren't terrible, but now they're all identical weight and identical on both ends. So if that makes any sense, again, if you're familiar with balancing, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Got a Felpro gasket kit. I went with the severe duty gasket kit just because I wasn't playing the heads on this one. I wasn't, heads weren't leaking when I took it apart. So it should be good. I made sure it was all nice and clean. Everything was straight. I did check for straightness. Everything looked within spec. What else did I do? We got the green 42-pound fuel injectors on there. If you can see them down there, those are Bosch 42-pound green giant injectors, they call them. Should be good for, I don't know, 350 to 375 horse. Should be okay on those. And what else we done? Cleaned up everything. Really, that's been I spent a lot of my time. You can see everything's been cleaned up a lot better than it was. It's not perfect. Again, it's not a show engine. I'm not worried about that. But just wanted to make it cleaner and better than it was before. Spent a bunch of time on the cylinder heads, doing some, again, minor porting and polishing, but that takes a lot of time just to get them all the same, get them all even. Also did a port match on the manifolds. Also did a port match on the intake manifold. Exhaust manifold and the intake manifold. And what else did we do? That's all I can think of right off the top of my head for now. Coming up though, this is where the hard part is, the customization of everything. So before, I had it all built and designed so that the turbo and everything and the intake manifold on the 3.1 fit together nicely, and everything fit the way where it should and within the confines of the engine compartment. Well, with the 3400, it doesn't exactly work the same. The new turbo I've got is a little bit bigger. It doesn't fit in the same spot as where the old turbo was. So I've got the battery taken out over here, because I'm probably gonna, like you see a lot of guys with these kind of cars, they end up putting the turbo over where the battery is, so I'm probably gonna have to relocate the battery. Might have to do some other custom work to get everything to fit. Like I said, custom mount, custom turbo location, custom turbo exhaust piping, custom intercooler piping. Everything is custom at this point, from this point going forward. So this is where the hard part starts. Rebuilding the engine is, again, tedious work. Filing the piston rings, making sure you got enough gap and all those things that we talked about before, and that type of stuff. That's tedious work, but it's not custom work. This is the custom stuff, and that's going to take a lot of time and effort on my part and on my welder brother. So we're going to be having to figure out all that stuff and how we're going to build it. At the end of this video, I'm going to, as I promised before, put up all the costs associated with the engine build. Like I said, and I'm not going to include the turbo stuff in there for now. I'm going to do a separate video with all the costs of the turbo stuff, or maybe when I do the turbo unboxing video, I'll get you the prices and whatnot of all that stuff. So that's a quick update of where we're at. We've got to figure out also the fuel lines. I turned that ignition module around on there so I can actually make my MagnaCore ignition wires from the 3.1 fit on the 3400 and keep that location. Otherwise, I would put it back up here. I used to have the ignition module mounted up here on the 3.1 just to make everything work. But I like it back there better, and it fits nicely, so that'll work there. But that's all I can think of as far as updates for right now. I do appreciate it, guys, for watching. If you haven't already, if you don't mind subscribing, I'd really appreciate that. I'm almost up to 400 subscribers, which is, again, more than I ever expected, honestly. So thank you very much. Apparently people seem to love these old Cavalier Z24s. So if you want to see more stuff, please let me know. I'm trying to get everything on here as much as I can. I'm going to, like I said, work on a couple more videos. Still working on the one for the turbo. Going to be still working on one regarding the intake manifold that used to be on my 3.1. The custom built one that was on, if you watch previous videos that you see on there. And going to go kind of into some technical theory type things on intake manifolds. And again, appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. I'm going to post up the prices and everything, like I said. And these are going to be true costs of what I paid for these things to get them to my house. Like most of you guys, I don't get any money from YouTube at this point, maybe down the road, but right at this point, I'm making nothing on YouTube. And for those that don't know me personally, I do work for an auto parts company. So full disclosure, I cannot tell you what I pay for parts at my business, but I won't tell you which parts came from my business, because with those older cars, it's hard to get parts for these things. So a lot of stuff I have to order online, a lot of stuff I have to order from different suppliers. So I'm going to tell you what I paid for it, but you're not going to know where it came from. But trust me, you look around, you'll be able to find the prices the same kind of prices that I paid. And I will, do my best to be honest and upfront with you guys about how much everything costs and how I'm doing this stuff. And hopefully you enjoy it. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much for everything. I will talk to you in the next video. Thanks. We'll talk later. Bye-bye. So these are all the parts I used. Definitely, they're not the cheapest ones out there. There are cheaper stuff out there, but this is what I used for the engine that I'm building. And obviously, depending on what kind of engine you're building, you may not need the same things I'm using, but this is what I used based on what I wanted to accomplish with my motor.